Here now with reaction, the president's attorney, Jay Sekulow. Quick on that. The bigger picture is we have real collusion uncovered. We have a real quid pro quo. And once again, it's a boomerang.
Right. Yeah, so, this is the ongoing pattern and practice of trying to basically shred the Constitution. So what California tried to do was add a requirement to the Constitution so that if you didn't produce your tax returns, you do not appear on the ballot. We challenged that in federal court. The court indicated last week that they were likely to rule in our favor. The ruling just came down. The Presidential Tax and Transparency and Accountability Act is declared unconstitutional. It violates the freedom of association, the Presidential Qualification Clause, and equal protections of the law. The court then issued the following order. The defendants, that is the state of California, are enjoined from enforcing provisions of the Presidential Tax Transparency and Accountability Act, requiring candidates for president to disclose their tax return as a condition of appearing on California's presidential primary ballot. Now, I'll tie this right into, Sean, what you had mentioned in your monologue, and that is this issue of the president calling heads of state regarding this ongoing investigation of how the counterintelligence matter, as James Comey should have called it based on his previous statements, but called it an investigation, how that started. And here's what we now have. My colleague, Professor Harry Hutchison, who's a senior policy analyst for the American Center for Law and Justice, also one of our senior lawyers, produced a document today which includes reference to two treaties. I'm holding them in my hand right now. These two treaties, this one is with Australia. The other treaty is with the Ukraine. It is entitled Treaty with Ukraine on Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters. Same with the matter involving Australia. Treaty with Australia on Mutual Assistance in Criminal Matters. The president, when he made calls on behalf of the Attorney General to encourage cooperation regarding how this entire counterintelligence fraud took place. He was not only within his constitutional rights to do it, but as Harry Hutchison points out, it was his constitutional obligation to engage in this. Why? Because the president's required to faithfully execute the laws of the United States and the Constitution. That's what he's doing. But what's happening right now is individuals, and this is what we have to understand, those that are so opposed to what the president's doing on any front are trying to weaponize the Constitution to make the execution of it basically illegal. And when you look at these two treaties, and by the way, there's other treaties with other countries as well, when you look at the phone calls and you look at the history of what's happened here, first it was quid pro quo. Well, then they looked at the transcript, no quid pro quo. Then it was the president's asking for inquiries to be made on various matters. Oh, well, I guess you have the right to do that under the Constitution and according to these treaties, which is now an affirmative obligation. Then it was a cover-up of what? The document was released. So here's what you've got. At the end of this right now, Sean, where it sits right now, not only did we win in California, and we will win all of this nonsense as well, but really what's at stake for the American people is the United States Constitution. That is what is at stake here.
All right, Jay Sekulow, the counsel for the president, chief counsel, American Center for Law and Justice. Jay, thank you for your time again tonight.